Hi everybody, we are Parcels. I am Jules.
And I am Patrick.
And we're going to do a track by track of our Day and Night album. This is my most favourite part, I guess. And I think it was pretty late in the night. It must have been like 2 or 3 a.m. But I was down here and kind of walking in and out, and it just felt like the morning, like exactly what we were trying to achieve, this feeling of just as soon as the light kind of comes through the atmosphere and the first crack of the egg, golden glow. We kind of all tripped out a little bit, even the engineer's like, whoa, it like totally changed the environment.
This track was always going to be, I think it was always going to be the first track, because it was just a visual imagination of the morning, and it doesn't start straight away, the day, you know, it's a slow kind of opening up of light and colour and things, so we just tried to recreate that.
It's so funny listening to this in here because we listen to this so much with recording it. And I think I saw a video from my phone recently of, I think, us sitting there listening to it, and we're all just like, oh, so into it.
Jules wrote the original demo for this like 2 years ago now, like, I don't know. But like, it was one of the early demos when we first started sharing stuff for the record, and that was the first one. I was like, whoa, that's the one. Or like, immediately the purity of that song really struck me first. So I kind of felt that from the start.
Yeah, it was nice to receive that information. It's always so nervous sharing demos with each other because I'm like, oh, I hope Patrick likes this. We used piano because we were just generally inspired on the idea, and also Patrick's an amazing piano player. And also...
And Louis.
And Louis. And also just the previous stuff that we did was very guitar focused. And I think after doing that instrumental boot camp that we did together, I realized, listening to all my favorite records in a more analytical way, I realized, oh, the guitar is just sitting back, like it's barely there. So I kind of just took a step back in the whole Day album and let the harmony kind of come through. Is anyone out here, out on their own? Is anyone listening now, out on the road this year? Which is kind of a bit of a theme within the album. It's just like a general lack of not belonging. And also just growing up in a place that is so beautiful. It's naturally beautiful, like the environment of Byron Bay, and I think it's in a way been a bit of a curse because everywhere else we go, it is, you know, if you were to compare, the beauty is not there, and going to a city is a very dramatic change because everything that I guess we did, generally speaking, in childhood was around nature. So it's a very spiritual kind of connection. Yeah, we just couldn't get the melody in time, essentially.
Yeah, and then we had this crazy rush because you guys were going back to Australia
the next day,
and we just had this like, there was this 1 week of me and Jules and Noah like trying to come up with the melody and the lyrics and like all bouncing it like, we need to get something for this, because we really believed in it. We wanted it to be on the record.
And it really worked. We just went in to record all the vocals on one day, and it felt really like the most professional we've ever been because we went in there and we just did it.
when it became the most exciting. And I remember, like, in the last nights before we recorded it was when we changed some of the lyrics, and to me it started to mean it was a message to everybody else, and it wasn't just like a personal story, and it was about the pandemic in the last years and all this reflection, and that was when it felt really right, because it's such a, it's part of this Day album, which is about connecting with others.
I remember hearing this was a demo of Patrick's quite early and just going like, ooh, that's a good one.
I love Dire Straits.
Yeah, well, it's Patrick wrote this song, so maybe it's in you.
Definitely a little bit in me. I don't know if it was... I think maybe also the similarity would be in I think Dire Straits has this kind of country inspiration, and this was the one song that I was excited by the fact that we could blend a country inspiration with a kind of funk groove. Till it lasts forever, till it lasts so long, until we're back together, I'll be alone. Till it lasts forever, till it lasts so long, until we're back together.
I just laugh because of Patrick's harmony.
Singing. It's so high. I have to yell. I recorded that in there, just holding on, just yelling this note.
Oh, it was so great listening back to those harmonies in here, because it really reminded me of, or all of us, of Toto, which is kind of this like guilty pleasure band that we all listen to. And it's like these inspirational high harmonies with rock guitar.
Till it lasts forever, till it lasts so long, until we're back together, I'll be alone.
Where do we get the idea of Day and Night? I think there was this kind of circulation of ideas of like we wanted to do 2 albums.
I remember at the early days we were like, everyone's pinpointing us as like a happy-go-lucky fun band, and we're like, no, we want to be dark as well, but we also want to be more in that side, right?
Yeah, totally. It was this idea of being able to split us in 2 meant that we had like twice the amount of possibility on either side. If you go on opposites, you have more opportunity to go even lighter and even more happy, even more inspirational, and then even darker on the other side. There was about 150 demos when we started. I know I found out Thriller, this album that I've listened to too much, by Michael Jackson. They had 150 demos to start that album, so it was like this kind of feat. And we got the 150 kind of demos that were all over the place, and we got it down. I think we had 40 tracks when we were rehearsing them. And then from 40 we got it down to 20, which was tough. Like, it was a really tough experience because Patrick and I are like main songwriters, and we're going to try and work out how to bring it all together when there's kind of 2 or 3 voices. But it somehow works. It just happens. Yeah, it's safe to say what we did was a terrible business decision. But we had to do what we needed to do. And I'm glad we did it.
Even on that island, heard my mother's wedding bells. I've been so tired, I've been so...
I remember playing it all together in Australia, and yeah, it's, for me, like, pretty much every time I listen to it, it makes me emotional. It's just one of those songs that I feel like Patrick is being so pure, and I think it's a real ode to his songwriting, and it just felt so perfect to end the album that way and to go into the night. It felt like a real, I don't know, surrendering. But yeah, I love that song. How we fell into disco, I think it was a very early like connection between us two.
It was like the start of this band, really. It was like us listening to funk and disco, and we were like, wow, that's what we should do.
Yeah, definitely. But now we've also had like a funny relationship with disco, because we are disco. It's like, well, we're not. That kind of became a disco western in a way.
Yeah, we always imagined the.
It's like a horse. Yeah. There is definitely a part of me that is like, I want to be famous, you know, and it's like this thing that I know is a mistake. I guess a person that has reached fame and is bitterly looking at it and going like, this is everything that you ever wanted, and it's not the point. I mean, it was a folk song.
Yeah, that's how it started.
Yeah, but one of Patrick's songs that was early in the process, and I guess a challenge to fit in because it was so different to the rest. But we had this reoccurring thing of this cowboy, this character, another character in the night.
Cowboy.
The Night Cowboy.
I guess it was just a way we could personify this voice that's going through the night and embracing all these different sides of hedonism and fame, but also the beautiful thing. We just like the Night Cowboy for me was a way to go like, that's the figure that's walking through all of this, and once is kind of the song where they land and reflect and kind of, I guess, realize that everything's impermanent and that the cycle's going to begin again. It links up with the first track of the Day album. It's a way to close the cycle and, I guess, see the sun rising again.
We recorded the walking because it's this character walking away back into the cycle again.
I'm never doing a double album again. Just singles from now on,
Yeah.
holidays.